In this video, I'll be discussing Penn Credit Corporation. Hi, I'm Consumer Protection Attorney Bill Clanton, and I've helped hundreds of consumers deal with debt collection harassment, inaccurate credit reporting, and other consumer-related matters. Penn Credit Corporation is a legitimate debt collector. They have a bond on file with the Texas Secretary of State. They've been around since about 1987. They're based in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And they are a third-party debt collector. They collect consumer-related debts. They focus on consumer credit cards, accounts receivable, direct marketing, including book, movie, and music clubs. They collect for student loan providers, and they collect municipal debts, traffic citations, court fines, some healthcare debts, some telecommunication and utility debts as well. According to Penn Credit, they say that they describe themselves as cutting-edge leaders in the collection industry whose professionalism, ethics, and integrity serve as a model for how collection agencies should be run. Well, I'm not so sure I agree with that, because according to the CFPB, they have more than 980 complaints. According to the Better Business Bureau, they have over 190 complaints. And according to federal records, there's over 214 lawsuits on file against them. I don't think that's a model of how collection agencies should be run, but maybe I'm a bit idealistic. So what do people complain about with Penn? Well, most of these complaints are for debt collection harassment under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or FDCPA. The FDCPA is a powerful federal law that protects you from third-party debt collectors like Penn. The FDCPA says that they cannot harass you. They cannot threaten to take actions they don't intend to take, or that the law says they cannot take. They cannot disclose the debt to a third party. They can't call your neighbors or your family members or your coworkers and tell them you owe money and you need to pay it back. That's a plain violation of the FDCPA. They cannot misrepresent or lie about the amount of the debt, the legal status of the debt, or the character of the debt. They have to stop calling if you ask them to stop calling in writing. If you dispute the debt, they have to report it on your credit report as disputed. Penn is not allowed to add fees or costs unless those are provided for in the original contract. Again, any misrepresentation about the debt or made in the course of collecting the debt is a violation of the FDCPA. Another type of violation of the FDCPA is the letter violation. When Penn starts collecting a debt, they have 5 days from their initial communication with you to send you a written notice. Now, this written notice can be part of the initial communication, but that initial communication or that disclosure is required to contain who you owe the debt to, the amount of the debt, and inform you about your right to dispute the debt and request verification of the debt. If that information is confusing or misleading or inaccurate, then there may be a case against them for violating the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Also, subsequent communications have to follow the law and not be misleading or inaccurate. So if you receive written communications from Penn, then they can be the basis for a lawsuit under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Other laws that Penn may be violating are the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, the Tcpa. The Tcpa says that if Penn is going to call your cell phone with an auto dialer, they have to have your permission. If they don't have your permission, it's against the law for them to call you with an auto dialer. If they do have your permission, you can revoke that permission very easily to say, please stop calling me, this is my cell phone. And they have to stop. Now, every violation they make of the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, the penalty is $500. If you can show they made those violations knowingly or willfully, the penalty is up to $1,500, and that's per call. As you can imagine, the damages can add up very quickly in a TCPA case. A Fair Credit Reporting Act, or the Fair Credit Reporting Act, says that Penn, if they're going to report your credit information, has to do it accurately and completely. They cannot report inaccurate information about you, but you have to dispute it before you can do anything about it. So if they're reporting inaccurate information about you, send them a letter and send it to the credit reporting agencies as well. If they fail to correct it, then you may have a case against them for violating the Fair Credit Reporting Act and failing to report information accurately and completely. These are powerful federal laws that protect you from Penn Credit Corporation. If you feel that you've been harassed, or you've received harassing calls, or they've damaged your reputation by reporting inaccurate information about you, then give me a call. I want to help you out, and I can't help you out until you give me a call. I will evaluate your case at no charge. I handle these cases on a contingent basis, meaning that I don't get paid unless you get paid, and I don't charge you anything up front to get started on your case. You have nothing to lose. If you want to turn the tables on Penn, if you want to get Penn off your back, give me a call. My number is 210-226-0800. And thanks for watching.